Country Archer, Opportunity Industries, Riverside's Innovation District, Surge Cities, and more. Welcome to Weekly Wire Roundup number 9. I'm your host, Various Smith III. This video newsletter is a wrap-up of articles, news, and events around the Inland Empire and part of Startempire Wire, an aggregate location on the web dedicated to connecting you with the best startups, people, and events in the Inland Empire. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube and join our email list at startempirewire.com. Now the news. The first thing we reported on this week was that the Inland Empire bounces back with improved business activity. This article you can find at the website. Business activity in the Inland Empire region expanded by 8% in the second quarter of 2021, according to UC Riverside School of Business Center for Economic Forecasting and Development. The housing market, which is really one of the biggest things in our area, remained a bright spot for the economic recovery. The report by UCR calls the Inland Empire region one of the last relatively affordable housing markets in Southern California. And despite strong demand, housing supply remains low in the region. Our second article this week highlighted meat snack brand Country Archer as they grew fast and raised a $12 million Series C round. This happened around February of 2020, but we are pretty sure that not a lot of people are aware of this brand, so we just wanted to spotlight them. So this fast growth was cemented by the $12 million Series C capital raise from their longtime equity partner, Monogram Capital Partners. Country Archer's meat snacks or jerky have all been well received by customers, and it basically shows in their quick expansion. Though they raised funds back in February 2020 amid the pandemic, the quick growth shows that there's a lot that new startups can tap into, even if not in the technology niche. This company was founded by a trio of Celestino or Charlie Mirachi, Eugene, and Susan Kang in 1977. Check out the article. Great information on an awesome startup, Country Archer, and grab some of those tasty snacks. Third article on the website this week was what are opportunity industries and how good jobs in the Inland Empire are related to them. So we pulled this from one of the longer reports by the Brookings Institute, really like a 72-page report, and wanted to help our audience to understand more about opportunity industries. So opportunity industries are the industries that disproportionately contain the Inland Empire region's good jobs, promising jobs. So basically good and promising jobs. So those good jobs refer to those that provide middle-class wages and benefits, and the promising jobs are the entry-level jobs that provide career pathways to good jobs. So good and promising jobs, two things listed in the report. The other thing about the opportunity industries is that they basically contain about 18% of the Inland Empire's total jobs, which is a huge thing. And they contain nearly 27% of its good jobs, and that's as stated by the Brookings Institution. And so the Brookings Institute lays out an emphasis on paying special attention to make these industries even better through research and development and providing them with resources needed to expand further. So there are certain industries here in the Inland Empire that if they were paid more attention to, they would grow. So these industries will basically help tap the region's potential in logistics and distribution sectors. Vertical specific startup accelerators have launched in the market. So one of those would be fourth sector innovations. We also have Riverside Excite, which they deal more with like the tech stuff, but also some of the agriculture, because that's one of the industries here in the Inland Empire, and biotechnology with Murrieta Genomics. All of those are included in the opportunity industries. Inland Empire, check that article out. The fourth article we had on the website is why Riverside, California made it into the Inc. 50's best places of America for starting a business. So here we just lay out exactly some of the reasons that Inc. gave for why Riverside made it into those top 50 best places in America for starting a business. Number one, Riverside, California made it to the list and was ranked 23 with greater startup density than Silicon Valley. So startup density is basically a way of finding out how many startups are in the area. So surprisingly, we have more than Silicon Valley in Riverside. The second reason, one of the second things in the article we talked about was that basically Riverside has 92.4 startups for every 1,000 businesses. Greater startup density than San Jose, San Francisco, or Boston. And in our area, job creation is 3.6. So that was one of the scores they gave us for job creation, which is fairly well, at least compared to other places that score below Riverside, except Orlando, which scored the same as Riverside. Final thing was early stage fundraising deals. So 0.3, we basically have one of the lowest compared to the size of the population in the Inland Empire. So all of that is changing, and Riverside Angel Summit, and I know the Tech Coast Angels are in our area as well. But I believe those things are changing. There's a lot of work we can do here in the Inland Empire, but we made it to that top 50 of best places of for businesses to start, which is great. The fifth thing we talked about on the website was the Innovation District, Riverside Innovation District. How does it join entrepreneurship, employment, entertainment, and housing? It's a huge thing. In Riverside is the Innovation District. And the idea behind the Riverside Innovation District is to make the most of the existing assets to attract private investment and make the county a hub for startups and entrepreneurs. As related to the previous two articles, we are looking to attract investment into this area and help our entrepreneurs and our startups get that investment. This plan for the Innovation District includes hybrid electric bus on the University Avenue close to UCR Center for Environmental Research and Technology, also called the Innovation Corridor. So Solomax, I love Solomax, great company because I've dealt with them before. They're a renewable energy solutions company. They're creating an energy ecosystem by attracting housing companies like SunSpark, who's one of the leading U.S. solar panel manufacturers. And all Riverside downtown projects featuring retail and living spaces are within walking distance to 50,000 jobs in Riverside's urban core. Wonderful city, love Riverside, and just one of the great cities here in the Inland Empire. The sixth thing we talked about this week were opportunity zones of San Bernardino, an example of best practices. So in this article, we go over a little bit more about the opportunity zones that are located in San Bernardino. And these opportunity zones basically were cited as the best practice case study according to a report by the White House Opportunity and Revitalization Council published May of 2020. So I know there are some in Ontario. There's a few others around San Bernardino. An opportunity zone is a new community development program that encourages long-term investments in low-income, urban, and rural communities. The project cited in the report submitted to the President of the United States mentions an 11,325 square foot medical office building in San Bernardino that will house San Bernardino County Department of the Behavior and Health. So the qualified opportunity funds are the backbone of the Opportunity Zones initiative. So check out that article, read a little bit more about Opportunity Zones. Those were introduced a few years back, actually I think about 2 or 3, but they are still relevant and they're still valid for our current entrepreneurial economic ecosystem. And now we're going to talk a little bit about our events. For our events, over the next few weeks, you can attend these events, and here they are. The first one is the Inland Empire WordPress monthly meetup group, and this is the general meetup. And this month, we're going to be covering the topic of search engine optimization and ranking your website in 2021. What are some of those things that have changed? What things remain the same? What's important? And if you've never had an overview or a primer of search engine optimization and what that means for a website or for your business, come check that out. It is the first Tuesday, November the 2nd, and it will be in person at Excite Riverside off of 10th Street in downtown Riverside. I myself will be there. So check that out. And the Raspberry Pi general discussion meetup is on November the 8th. You can check that meetup out on meetup.com. I do not know what their topic is, but it's a general discussion, so it's likely to be, if you have questions, Q&A, talking about maybe new things that have been, out. I'm a Raspberry Pi enthusiast myself, but we'll get to that later. And the conferences and festival. Riverside Angel Summit is still going on until November 3rd, and that's actually winding down because the due diligence final reports are going to be completed by the investors on November the 1st. Pretty exciting time because now they are rounding up, winding down all of the due diligence that was needed to bring in those the finalists who are going to receive the seed investment. And on November the 4th, that is the end of the Angel Summit is closing. And there is to be an expected winner. So I will try to get that information and talk about it, or maybe write an article on the winners or the finalists. Stay tuned. And upcoming will be Future Fest on November the 12th. So you don't want to miss out on Future Fest. It is going to be an amazing day of networking, professional development, and even some really innovative stuff going on. I am part of the planning committee, and we are just right now pushing to get this information out. You don't want to miss out on Future Fest. It's going to be a great opportunity and the first of more to come. So those are all of the events. Thank you for tuning in to this broadcast weekly and sticking with me. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please subscribe, because Startempire Wire YouTube channel will be more than just the Weekly Wire Roundups. We got the articles, we got the Weekly Wire Roundups, and we are turning the corner of finally finishing the editing, the transcription, and all of the amazing stuff for the podcast, the Founders Podcast. If you know of any news that should be reported on related to startups and the startup ecosystem, I would love to hear from you at info@startempirewire.com. If you are an entrepreneur, if you have a startup and you are just wanting to get your name out there, I would love to bring you on the podcast, the Founders Podcast. We have several podcasts ready, actually in line to be edited, and we're going to be releasing those soon. So please stick with us. Thanks again. Join us next week on the Weekly Wire Roundup. Peace.